Picture a continent clawing its way out of the ashes of a fallen empire, where crowned kings ruled by divine promise, peasants bent under the weight of iron laws, and death itself rode through villages on the breath of the wind. Because the history of medieval Europe is not a quiet stretch of dusty centuries, but a violent, desperate, endlessly dramatic survival saga. That begins in the wreckage of Rome and ends with the modern world already struggling to be born. When Roman roads cracked and legions vanished in the 5th century, Europe shattered into fragments, ruled by warlords who claimed authority through ancestry, conquest, and fear. Turning loyalty into currency and land into power. While figures like Clovis of the Franks fused kingship with Christianity to transform personal rule into sacred destiny, giving birth to monarchies that claimed God's favor even as violence shaped their borders. Amid this chaos, the Church emerged as the one institution that never fully fell. Guarding literacy, law, and memory, in stone monasteries, where monks copied texts, while outside their walls, society relearned how to survive without empire. As generations passed, feudalism hardened Europe into a rigid hierarchy where every man knew his place. Knights swore oaths sealed with steel. Lords extracted labor and loyalty. Peasants lived lives dictated by harvests, hunger, and obedience. Trapped on land they could not leave, while castles rose across the countryside. Not as symbols of romance, but as brutal machines of control. Dominating landscapes and enforcing authority through threat alone. The dream of unity returned briefly with Charlemagne. Crowned emperor in 800, who attempted to resurrect Rome itself by standardizing law, education, writing, and governance, igniting a short-lived cultural revival that hinted at what Europe could become, only for his empire to fracture after his death. exposing a harsh medieval truth that power survived only as long as the ruler who held it.
This strategy will lead to ruin!
My liege,
As
you
internal
cannot
order
expect
struggled
us
to
agree
stabilize,
this. The scouts confirm the movements here. We must act.
external threats arrive like storms.
Blood and fire. We take
With
it
Vikings
all.
carving paths of fire and
Victory
steel through rivers
or
and coastlines,
Valhalla.
burning monasteries, enslaving populations, and founding trade hubs that would become cities,
Knock! Draw! Hold the line! Loose!
forcing Europe to militarize, adapt, and ultimately absorb these invaders into its own fabric. In the East, the Byzantine Empire endured as a living relic of Rome, preserving bureaucracy, diplomacy, and classical knowledge. While to the south and east, the Islamic world surged ahead in mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and philosophy. Creating a powerful counterweight to Europe and a conduit through which ancient knowledge would later return. The collision of these worlds erupted most violently in the Crusades. Where faith became fuel for mass warfare. Peasants and princes marched under holy banners. Cities were slaughtered in the name of salvation. And Europe's horizons expanded through bloodshed, trade, and exposure to ideas that quietly undermined old assumptions. Back home, the medieval church tightened its grip on every stage of life, from baptism to burial, defining morality, legitimizing kings, and terrifying souls. With visions of hell, even as corruption, indulgences, and political ambition eroded spiritual authority from within. Then the 14th century arrived like a hammer blow. As climate shifts triggered famine, bodies weakened, and the Black Death swept across Europe with merciless speed, killing perhaps half the population, emptying villages, silencing churches, collapsing economies, and shattering the belief that the faithful were protected. Because prayer could not stop the dead carts rolling through the streets. In the plague's aftermath, the world stood transformed. With labor suddenly scarce, wages rising, peasants realizing their value, and uprisings erupting as survivors challenged the old feudal order, demanding rights, freedom, and dignity in a society built on their suffering. Kings, threatened by chaos, responded by tightening control, building centralized states, expanding taxation, professionalizing armies, and weakening the power of nobles. While England and France bled through the 100 Years' War, where shattered knightly dominance, castles fell, and gunpowder announced the slow death of medieval warfare itself. Meanwhile, culture quietly evolved as universities spread, books multiplied, vernacular languages replaced Latin, and thinkers began asking dangerous questions about nature, authority, and humanity's place in the universe. Loosening the grip of unquestioned tradition, by the 15th century, medieval Europe stood at a crossroads. Still bound by hierarchy, superstition, and faith, yet restless and transformed, shaped by catastrophe and survival, ready to explode into the Renaissance, the Reformation, and global expansion, proving that the Middle Ages were never a dark pause in history, but a relentless forge of kings, plagues, belief, ambition, and power that destroyed the ancient world and unknowingly built the modern. Because medieval Europe was never asleep for 1,000 years, it was fighting, adapting, breaking, and reinventing itself every single day in blood, prayer, and unrelenting human ambition.